Dawn on Rakino Island in the Hauraki Gulf, New Zealand on the 30th of April 2016 over an acidifying ocean. In the Paleocene Ecocene thermal maximum, our oceans acidified and turned into a toxic soup that compromised all complex life in it. That same outcome is taking place as we speak now. The Great Barrier Reef has had its third bleaching event in the last 100 years, and I don't believe it's going to recover this time. Professor Guy McPherson and I will be touring New Zealand in November, talking about the sixth great extinction and how it involves humans as well as every other complex life on this planet. I'll leave Paul Beckwith to explain to you about the Great Barrier Reef as the sun comes up over the Coromandel Peninsula.
Hi, I'm Paul Beckwith. I'm with the University of Ottawa in the Laboratory for Paleoclimatology. We have a crisis today in the largest ecological system on Earth. The Great Barrier Reef of Australia is under extreme stress from very, very warm water, which has bleached vast regions of the coral. First of all, by a little way of background, the size in terms of area of the Great Barrier Reef of Australia is about that of the countries of, say, Germany or Japan or Italy. There's over 3,000 reefs, 6,000 islands comprising the region, 1,625 types of fish, 133 types of sharks and rays, and 600 types of corals, soft corals, hard corals. Basically comprises the largest ecosystem on Earth. And since the turn of the century, from about 1880 to present day, the sea surface temperature in the Coral Sea, which encompasses a lot of the Great Barrier Reef, is 1.2, 1.3 degrees Celsius, warmer today than it was about 1880 or so. So this year, of course, we've had the very large El Nino event in the Pacific, which has been very, very powerful. In fact, one of the most powerful that we've ever seen. It is even stronger than the 1997 to 98 one previous. This is not the first time that the Barrier Reef has undergone a lot of bleaching, but this is by far the worst ever bleaching of the reef, which is ongoing as I speak in this video. So if the water temperature gets too warm or too cold, then it stresses the zooanthellae, which are the symbiotic algae that coexist with the coral polyps to make up the reef. So the zooanthellae provide food, and they give the color to the reefs, the vibrant colors that we see. So water temperature is too warm right now on mostly the northern part, the northeast part of the Great Barrier Reef. The zooanthellae get stressed out and they flee the coral. They leave the coral. This leaves the coral very vulnerable, and it can cause death. In fact, about 50% of the bleached areas in the Great Barrier Reef are expected to have complete mortality. So I'm talking about the region from Cairns all the way down the coast to roughly to, around the Papua New Guinea region that's offshore. So an aerial survey was done. This was triggered by the reports of very, very large bleaching. So using drone technology and photography from planes, an aerial survey was done of 520 reefs, mostly in the northernmost regions, of those 520 reefs, only 4 of them were healthy. 516 of these reefs have been bleached, so the zooanthellae have left and the coral has turned white. And 50% of them will die. Which ones won't die? Well, basically, if the water temperature returns closer to normal and the zooanthellae return, then within about 8 weeks of leaving, then the coral can recover. So right now we're on a death watch. Basically, the water's still warm. If the water cools down off in this region, then some of the reef will recover, but be severely weakened. So UNESCO is the United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization, part of the UN. They're the people that declare sites to be World Heritage Sites and determine if they're in danger or not. So the Great Barrier Reef, of course, is one of the World Heritage Sites. It's important to our planet. It's part of our ecosystem on our planet. It's a very large area. It's very important to the Australian economy. It's a huge magnet for tourism in Australia. It's a huge ecosystem, a huge biodiversity hotspot, if you like. The biodiversity hotspots on land are things like the Amazon rainforest. It's definitely the marine biodiversity hotspot, with all of the fish that live on the reef. So getting back to the UNESCO, they've been lobbied hard by the Australian government in the last few years because they wanted to put the Great Barrier Reef on the danger list of World Heritage Sites, and they were convinced, the health of the reef is fine. The Australian government, which is basically in the pockets of mining corporations. In fact, they wanted to blow away parts of the reef to build a coal terminal to ship more coal off. I mean, talk about ultimate irony. So the UNESCO was successfully lobbied by the Australians to not have the reef on the World Heritage danger list, and of course UNESCO, after this bleaching, I mean, what choice are they going to have? They must reconsider and add it to their list. Of course, the water temperature this year is very, very high, both from the climate change, as I've said, the 1.2, 1.4 to 1.4 degrees temperature rise in the Coral Sea since the turn of the century, and also with the record El Nino that has been going on for most of for lots of 2015 and now well into 2016. It is weakening, but it still has a lot of kick left to it. The Barrier Reef is 2,300 kilometers long. It also protects the coast from storms, apart from being a habitat for vast numbers of marine species. And it's a great tourist area, lots of scuba diving. Its loss to planet Earth would be devastating. Not just to planet Earth. I mean, to Australia, it would do a big number on the Australian sort of, the Australian identity, if you like. The Australian sense of place, the global sense of place when these reefs start to drop. Now, the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority has the entire reef on level 3 alert, which is their highest alert for bleaching. And setting that alert triggered the aerial survey by Terry Hughes, who's a National Coral Bleaching Task Force leader. And they surveyed 600 kilometers of the reef just a few weeks ago, and found 60% bleached, and the reports in the last week now have gone to say 95% of the reef is bleached, with a 50% mortality rate expected. So this is, basically, this is solid evidence that we've pushed the ecosystem way too far. We've stressed the ecosystem just in too many ways. The ocean acidification does not help with the bleaching because corals are calcium based, and with the acidification that can dissolve the corals. The change in sea level is also going to be a big factor in coral reefs worldwide. So if coral reefs withstand the extremely warm sea surface temperatures, and if they withstand the additional extreme weather events and the higher waves and large storm surges and things from typhoons and hurricanes, if they withstand that type of thing, then if we do get sea level rise of, say, 7 meters by 2070, which I've been talking about, now this is an outlier, but there's been a lot of noise in the media just in the last week or so about the rates being double what mainstream science thought, so perhaps 2 meters by 2010 instead of 1 meter. So they're getting closer to my number. You can just Google, is 7 meters by 2070 possible, and look at that YouTube video. So if we have that type of sea level rise, then of course the coral are located at the depth they're at because there's sufficient light